Hello, church family. This is not a Better News Daily video, even though I'm in my little studio. This is an update about our church that you probably saw floating around today. This is just the video form of the same information. So it has been 4 months since we last met together, and I'm excited to announce that we are finally reopening the church for gatherings in person starting this weekend, June 27. Now, obviously, our church service is not going to look the same as it did back in February, and we appreciate your understanding as we slowly add more back into our Sabbath program. This video is just going to cover the exact same information that was on the document that was sent out to our members via email. It's on our church website. I'll put a link actually in the video description of this document that I'm talking about. If you just want to read that, this video is going to be the exact same information. But for those of you who don't want to read, you can just listen to me instead. Okay, so I know I mentioned this past weekend during the live stream that was recorded and then uploaded later that we would be doing online registration through reopen.church. We're not going to do that this Sabbath. We're going to see how it goes with just people showing up. And if we have too many and it gets too confusing, we'll implement the online registration then. So don't worry about that. No registration for this week. So the precautions that we're going to be taking are based on state and health guidelines for faith-based gathering. So during phase 2, we're going to be holding 1 hour-long service on Sabbath morning at 11 a.m. until more capacity is allowed. We can have up to 110 people in the sanctuary, and if we exceed this number, there will be an overflow space in the fellowship hall to watch a live stream of the program. We won't be having any Sabbath school classes in the church building during phase 2. We'll reevaluate this when we're in phase 3. So for now, just a worship service together. The next part is important. If you plan to attend, there are some pretty standard guidelines that we ask you to follow. Maintain social distancing of 6 feet inside and outside of the building. Masks should be worn throughout the service while in the building. If you don't have one, we will provide you with one. Those who are at risk for health conditions are encouraged to stay home, please. And if you are sick, please stay home and join us on live stream until you are well. And finally, we are excited to see each other, but please socialize outside the church, in the breezeways or in the parking lot. And when you're out there, please watch your children. So like I said, these things are pretty standard for public spaces these days, and we appreciate your understanding with this. We're going to do our best as a church to ensure the health of all who come. Here are some precautions that we're going to be taking. The sanctuary is going to be kept well ventilated. Every other row in the sanctuary will be blocked off, and we would ask that families spread out horizontally within the rows. Does that make sense? That makes sense, right? Bibles and hymnals are going to be removed from the pews temporarily, and a voluntary contact tracing log will be kept on the credenza for anybody who wishes to share their basic contact info. Our restrooms need to have no more than 2 people in them at a time, so try to be aware of this and wait outside if they're full. And of course, wash your hands afterwards. And then a basic cleaning is going to happen after the service, specifically targeting frequently touched surfaces and objects and the restrooms. So last thing here, just a quick word about some changes to our worship service. We're simplifying our program in these early weeks of reopening. There won't be congregational song service for the first few weeks, but we do value worship and music, so we still will have special musics planned. For children's story, we ask that the kids please stay with their families in their pews, and the story will be told from the front. And offering is going to be collected at the end of the service at the door by our deacons. So I think that's enough of the basic information for you. Things shift and change pretty regularly these days. So thank you for your patience and flexibility as we work to make our church gatherings safe and worshipful for all who attend. When we have updated information about phase 3 for King County, we will share that with you. So until whenever I see you next, stay healthy and God bless.